I'm Kristen Souza, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor specializing in ADHD. And today I'm here to talk to you about Doom Boxes and ADHD. For many living with ADHD, keeping track of essential items can be a daily challenge. Using a Doom Box can be a complete lifesaver for those grappling with disorganization. Now, despite the name, there's nothing ominous about these boxes. Doom stands for Didn't Organize, Only Moved, highlighting their straightforward yet effective purpose: to house the frequently misplaced items that are integral parts of our daily life. So think keys, your wallet, passports, etc. In this video, we'll go over what a Doom Box is, why people with ADHD tend to use Doom Boxes or even piles, ADHD symptoms that make organization difficult, benefits of Doom Boxes, possible drawbacks of Doom Boxes or piles, and 8 tips to tackle a Doom Box. A Doom Box is a designated container to store essential items that are frequently lost or misplaced. Doom Boxes don't have to look any particular way, and some people may use bags, baskets, drawers, or an entire closet as their Doom Box. I like to refer to that as a Doom Room. It's only important that the Doom Box serves as a consistent location for important belongings, so they're always within easy reach to minimize the chaos of everyday misplacements. So do what works for you when it comes to a Doom Box. It doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing, it has to work for you. Doom Boxes can be created intentionally or accidentally over time. So you might notice you might throw things in a pile near the front door, or maybe near the staircase in your room, and things start to pile up. Before I continue, I've linked to our in-depth article on Doom Boxes and ADHD and some other resources for support in the description below. Also, you can help improve the quality of mental health information on the web by liking this video and joining us in the comment section below with your story or questions that you might have. Okay, back to Doom Boxes and ADHD. People living with ADHD may be more likely to have a Doom Box as a coping strategy for dealing with symptoms of disorganization and executive dysfunction than the general population or your neurotypical peers. ADHD is a neurological disorder that impacts the frontal lobe of the brain, which handles executive functioning tasks such as planning, organizing, and managing tasks. Struggles with planning and organizing, as well as difficulties with task management, are all symptoms of ADHD. You can think of the frontal lobe in the brain as the brain's CEO. In an individual living with ADHD, that CEO tends to be incredibly disorganized and chronically struggles to meet their deadlines. They probably often have papers piled up on their desk and can't ever seem to get all the tasks they need to get completed in a designated time frame. This is completely normal when it comes to ADHD. Doom Boxes and other coping strategies may function to assist individuals who struggle with these deficits. Now, let's go over ADHD symptoms that make organization difficult. First, we have difficulty staying focused. So, struggles with focus make it hard to complete tasks, and an individual may end up starting many different tasks that they don't finish. The next one is difficulty regulating emotions. So individuals living with ADHD might also struggle with regulating their emotions and may notice themselves feeling frequently overwhelmed. Next up, lack of cognitive flexibility. Individuals living with ADHD might struggle with cognitive flexibility, which is needed in order to plan and organize tasks and activities. Difficulty prioritizing work. So people with ADHD often struggle with procrastination and generally struggle to know how to prioritize tasks and activities, which leads to disorganization. Difficulty with forgetfulness. Deficits in memory have been found in individuals with ADHD, according to several studies. This can be due to being distracted. Difficulty with regulating action. Individuals who struggle particularly with hyperactivity and impulsivity will often have trouble regulating and structuring their behavior. Inconsistencies in effort. People with ADHD often struggle with giving a consistent effort to any given task or activity. So for example, if the task at hand is too mentally taxing or even boring, then it might not get done, versus a fun or easy task that consistently gets done. And this has a lot to do with a dopamine deficiency in the brain of someone with ADHD. Engaging in hyperfocus. So people living with ADHD might engage in hyperfocus on one activity or task, which causes them to neglect others. Being easily distracted. So people living with ADHD are easily distracted, making it difficult to complete tasks. Avoiding tasks that are sustained mental effort. So people living with ADHD may generally be reluctant to engage in mentally strenuous tasks that require them to sit still for long periods of time. Like I mentioned before, this goes back to the dopamine deficiency. Keep in mind, while people with ADHD will have a few of these symptoms, most will not have all of them. Okay, let's go over the benefits of a Doom Box. These include creating intentional structure around organization for individuals living with ADHD who struggle in that area. Doom Boxes allow a person to more quickly clean up their current space so that they can better focus on work and have a calm space to relax in. So if you are someone with ADHD that struggles with disorganization, but you have to have a clean space to work in, a Doom Box might be the right approach for you. So instead of being overwhelmed with the thought of organizing in that moment, placing items in a Doom Box, Doom pile, or even a Doom room like your laundry room can help you stay on task and perhaps avoid ADHD paralysis, which is when you want to shut down because you're overwhelmed. If there is a designated spot for miscellaneous items, you'll know all the possible places they can be. The important part is to stay consistent with your Doom Boxes and what items you're putting in each of them. Parents can also use Doom Boxes to help their children improve organization and reduce struggles with forgetfulness. So if you know that you put a particular item in a specific box, it's going to be there. For example, you might create a Doom Box for your child's shoes or many art projects, and if they can't find it, they'll check that Doom Box. As a quick reminder, I've linked to ADHD resources in the description below to help you find tips, tools, and other useful information. Make sure to check them out. Now that we know the benefits of using Doom Boxes, let's go over the possible drawbacks of using a Doom Box for people with ADHD. It is important for individuals living with ADHD to be mindful of when the amount of Doom Boxes or piles start to become overwhelming rather than helpful. For example, if you're taking on too many projects or responsibilities, you might notice that the Doom Boxes and piles are out of control and are more of a distraction than a helpful tool. Maybe you start to notice that box by the stairs is overflowing, the box in your car is out of control. That would be a good time to reflect, pause, and perhaps tackle that Doom Box. Another thing to note is if you're living with a roommate or partner, having Doom Boxes or piles could also cause issues in shared spaces, especially if there isn't communication around their importance to you. Now let's talk about some other possible drawbacks of Doom Boxes. Tension with roommates. Again, using shared spaces to store Doom Boxes without communicating their utility with roommates can be a possible drawback. A Doom Box could increase your anxiety. If Doom Boxes and piles start to cause overwhelm, it may be time to come up with a strategy for consolidating the boxes or designating a certain area of the house for them. Increase pile up. So Doom Boxes might lead to holding on to unnecessary items and result in increased clutter if not used intentionally. A helpful tip is to pick a day of the week to examine the contents of at least one Doom Box. Set a timer. I like to use one of these, or you can use one on your phone. And while you're organizing the box or pile, it helps you stay on track. Doom Boxes might not be appropriate for every setting, so keep that in mind. While Doom Boxes and piles can be incredibly useful in your own or even shared space, some places will simply not have the room for excessive Doom piles, or they may be highly frowned upon by your peers. Another drawback is not being able to rely on using designated Doom Boxes, and it will require an alternative strategy. Another drawback is losing items in the Doom pile or Doom Box. Individuals with ADHD often struggle with object permanence, which means if the item is out of sight, then it's out of mind. And a great example of this is, let's say you buy a new clothing item and put it in your closet, in your clothing Doom Box, in a spare bedroom. Chances are you might forget about it completely. You might repurchase it. You might just think that you lost it altogether. When this happens, I like to call it ADHD tax, since it's another item lost to your ADHD symptoms. If you struggle with object permanence or want to learn more on that topic, click the link right at the top of the screen up here and watch a video that we made on object permanence and ADHD. Okay, back to Doom Boxes. Let's go over some tips and tricks to tackle a Doom Box in the most efficient way possible. First, categorize. Categorize the Doom Box in many smaller boxes that each have their own labeled category. So for example, you might have a work Doom Box with smaller boxes or piles with specific things like paperwork, highlighters, gadgets, etc. You might even have a drawer in your kitchen that serves as this particular Doom Box. So keep like items with other like items. Another example might be a laundry Doom Box with bins. So the bins might have separators for different family members or clothing items. So do what works best for your brain. This can help the doom box itself from becoming cluttered and disorganized. Remember, again, to set a timer. Tackle the doom box in short, timed increments. Completing complex tasks in short bursts often make them more manageable for people with ADHD. It gives you that sense of accomplishment, and then you can pause, repeat, and do it all again. Try to use a body double. So ask a friend if they might be willing to help you with ADHD body doubling. Be sure to check in with your friend for capacity and consent rather than assuming or expecting someone might take on this supporting role. That particular friend does not even have to be working on what you're working on. It's just nice to have someone in the room with you for accountability. Make sure to stop the negative self-blame and judgment. Approaching this task with self-compassion rather than self-blame and judgment is super important. Often, people living with ADHD think they're lazy or failures for not being able to reliably complete what might seem like a basic task for neurotypical peers. But if you have ADHD, you just have to do things a little bit different than other people, and that's okay. Next up is perhaps create an outline. Creating an outline or plan for your doom box before actually starting on this project might be helpful for you. So take time to make a list and be intentional about what you need to keep in the box. Take inventory. Creating a doom box might be a useful opportunity to take stock of the possessions you have and think about what you need versus what you don't need. Use this project as an opportunity to also unload unnecessary items. Remember, clutter can be super overwhelming if you have ADHD. A quick tip is the 6-month rule. It's a good strategy to use. If you have an item you haven't used in 6 months, it might be a good time to consider getting rid of that item. Reevaluate. It's okay to go back and make changes to your original doom box configuration to simplify, expand, or generally make improvements on this strategy. Get creative. Rather than going out and buying something to create a doom box with, challenge yourself to use resources you already have, like an unused basket in storage, or optimizing existing closets or drawer space. It doesn't have to be fancy or aesthetically pleasing, it just has to work for you. Lastly, some helpful items needed to start a doom box might include a trash can, a recycling bin, a box for donations, boxes for each new category, a marker to label your new boxes, conversations with a roommate or partner about placement of the doom box, making a list of items to keep in the doom box. These are just some recommendations. Again, do what works for you. If you are someone with ADHD and struggling to stay organized, creating doom boxes might be a useful tool to stay on track. If you've tried this strategy and need more tools and support, I've linked to resources in the description below. Let us know if you have any questions in the comment section as well.